I have debated for years with a bunch of close magic friends. They're magic friends. They never wear clothes. They're magic. What's your most important trick? Your first trick or your last trick? First trick or last trick? Primacy or recency? The one people saw last, meaning your last trick, or the one they saw first when they first met you, your first trick. And it's a great, it's a classic debate in performance and in presentations. And again, this is the kind of thing I drill down into in a lot more detail on my upcoming Connect and Influence channel. Having said that, I would argue your first trick. I really would, because your last trick is your big boffo one. It's the one they remember you for. It's your reputation-making trick, ideally. But unless you have their attention and their respect and their belief, you need those things to really make that last one work. And you get those things with your first trick. Your first trick is the one, it's the first impression, we've heard the expression that people make their opinion of you literally in the first 10, 20 seconds of meeting you. Amazing. All this nonverbal communication happens. The way you hold yourself, your eye contact, your handshake, the tone of your voice, the way you hold all this stuff is critical. And if I wish it were the stuff you could nail down consciously, that you could focus on. It's what I say and whether I make eye contact. But it's so much more than that when you first encounter people. And this is in a personal environment, whether it's a corporate environment, wherever you are, trying to meet someone in a bar, all this stuff is key. This is a great opening trick. It's great because it's brief. You get right into it, okay? There's no yada, 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 how you doing, nice, blee, blah, blue, blue. You're into it, okay? Second, it's utterly unexpected. I mean, the last thing anybody expects from this folded thing is first a larger object, let alone an object that is fragile and famous for crumbling. Okay, so the aesthetics are so strong there. Also, verbally, you don't need to say a thing. This is something I come back to on the channel. Magic that doesn't require you to say a word. Okay, I also like this because there's a kind of a surreal quality about it. It's almost I'm a big fan, as I've mentioned here, of the surrealists. Magritte, Salvador Dali. I'm the Dada movement. Look up Dada. I find it very interesting. I think it's spelled M-O-M-M-Y. Look it up. It's a fascinating artistic movement, absurd and dreamlike. And there's something about having, an envelope is such a tidy office, neat kind of thing. And inside there, it's a cracker. It's just so weird. It's up there with pulling a feather out or somebody's eye as they scream in French, necessarily. So for all these things and more, it makes for such a great opening trick. It also creates, that's what I love in an opening trick, it immediately poses a question. Like when you take out a deck of cards, there's no question posed. Maybe, is he gonna do the one my grandfather showed me, that 4-ish trick. But when you take a little folded envelope and you look at it, and they look at it, it's immediately, what's inside the envelope? You unfold it, and it's like, okay, there's a natural expectation coming. There's they know the minor tension's about to be released. Then you open the envelope and out comes a cracker. And if there's any doubt, and it's inherently, I also think this is kind of, magic with food is inherently kind of funny too. You take that out, you can silently hand it to someone, and if no one's interested, no, okay, put it away, okay? Or this idea then of you biting it. How do you bite it? Do you swallow it all? Do you take a bite and spit it out? What do you do with it? So for all these reasons and more, I think this makes for a really strong opening effect. It's quick, it's visual, doesn't require you saying anything, it's engaging, creates curiosity, all great stuff. So you're gonna need a cracker. I learned years ago, and believe me, I tried hard, it's very difficult to do a trick involving a cracker unless you have a cracker. You can go with a sketch, you can have a local bakery release the distinctive smell of crackers into the air, nay. And people still will not swear they saw a cracker. So you need a cracker. Personally, and this will sound very particular, I like a round cracker. This is a Ritz cracker. I like the contrast between the clean corners of this and the round. You could use a square cracker, but I think psychologically this notion of a square cracker fitting inside a square envelope is less of a contrast, okay? So a round cracker. Little pay envelope, okay? No big deal there, standard stuff. And you're going to cut a slit in the back of the envelope. So you'll find that you could bend this and then snip with a pair of scissors, but it's so much easier to get a playing card, fold it so it fits neatly inside, and then you're going to cut maybe about an inch down. You're going to cut a slit in the back of the envelope. Do not take the edge, the slit to the very, very edges of the envelope. You start to increase your chances of flashing and all that stuff. So almost all the way there, okay? Then, of course, you got to test it out. It comes and make sure that, in fact, the cracker, oh, it does. The cracker does fit just inside there like that. Okay. You don't need the cardigan. And I did say card again, I didn't refer to a sweater. You don't need this again either. And once again, more dead animals in the studio there. Fold this like that, okay. Fold it back, fold it in half, sorry. Fold it in half back towards you. So what I mean by that is I've got the little flap here, okay. And what this means is that I can, right now you could, if you want to, show both sides and there's no slit. The slit is on the inside of the fold, okay, like this. Then fold it in half again. It's amazing. If you've ever tried to develop a trick, you'll appreciate how long it takes to discover the simplest, most practical method for almost anything. It's amazing the work it takes. There's this old idea that when you make something look really, really simple, that's a sign that you're doing it the best it can be done. And it's frustrating because a lot of people work for years, jazz musicians, magicians, whatever, work for years to really simplify something. You show it to people, and sometimes they go, well, it's pretty straightforward, right? And you go, you know how long it took me to get there? So you're here. Now, the cracker, there's lots of ways you can get into this, okay? One way you could get into this, you could have a paper clip on here. So you could take this out, show the paper clip on there like this. Say, you could either say something or not, but you can show your hands empty, take the paper clip off, and then put the paper clip in your pocket. That's when you get the cracker, okay? So that's, or rubber band. You could take off the rubber band, put it in your pocket, and that's when you get the cracker, all right? Or you can start, and the cracker, you're gonna get this into clip, okay? Whatever technique works best for you, but you'll find the nice thing about a clip, and you got to be careful because it's amazing how now the fingers look relaxed, they're together, they look like the other hand, but even the tiniest little push in, not only can you start to see the cracker, but there can be shadows and gaps and things like that. Okay, so you're here. This is just clipped as loosely and as gently as you can, and not near the tips, not halfway, but as close to the palm as you can. Okay, so that's your grip. You're like this. Now notice you can go to your pocket and get this all set up here. What I like to do though is I like the idea that this is here, okay? Just go, let Criss readjust here. I can take this out of my pocket like this and I can show it, twist it twice, okay? By doing this, I can even do this. I can show both sides of this, but I want to make sure I end with the flap on the top part, not the bottom, okay? So I want it on the top. Then, having shown the envelope fairly and the left hand absolutely empty, the right hand comes in and you want it to roughly mirror the left hand, okay? You don't want to be in this position and coming in like this. You want to be naturally showing it like this, and I come in, okay? Then my left, as I grip this here, my left thumb dips into the fold and opens the envelope completely, or I should say to the halfway point. Then I open it this. And it's a great, really casual way of being able to show the envelope fairly, but keeping this. Now, this is angled. You really have to watch your sight lines. Obviously, you don't want to dip down, you don't want to dip up. It's here, okay? Then, what I'm going to do here now is I go from here, and the idea is I'm readjusting my hand to get to the flap to open it. That's the reason why my hand is going to open it. Now, you're going to find in performance you can keep it this way, but what I really like to do, and I think it's the most natural, when Criss and I were taping this for the camera, we want it to be as magical looking. But with an audience in front of me, what I find a lot more natural is to take the envelope and move it from this position to laying directly on the hand here as the hand opens the flap, okay? And notice that those two hands working together provide a lot of natural misdirection for me to load the cracker behind the envelope, and with my thumb, my left thumb actually grips it behind as I, in a natural continuing action, open this up. Now both thumbs are working to slide the cracker to the left, and then the left thumb works, the fingers are going in. The left thumb is now independently sliding the cracker through the slit. Now do not rush this. You don't want to go from this moment to this. Okay, that is, you really want to get to that moment where they see this, and there's almost this sense of, what is that? What is it? Oh my God, it's a cracker. But that doesn't even make any, it was full. You want to make, this is really the moment where you want to give them a beat or two. Then fully remove it from the envelope. You can crunch this into a ball, toss it on the stage, put it in your pocket, whatever, and then go from there and do something hopefully memorable with the cracker. On the channel, I sometimes talk about the idea of people finding your magic valuable or of meaning, or they care, they invest in it because they care about you. But there's another side. There's always another side. And the other side is it's also important for you to care about your magic. Now, it might seem obvious, but I don't know how you are. For me, I've had many performances, particularly as a younger performer, where I felt a little shy to act like what I was doing was too valuable or meaningful. So I had this tendency to almost dismiss or be a bit silly with some of it, or to play it down, or to even treat it as if it wasn't really that important kind of thing. And you need to find that balance. It's very important for you to find the balance between coming across as pompous or too much value on something, and at the other time, not giving it meaning, not finding it of value for you in the moment. That you ultimately, I think, need to find a place where you feel that what you're sharing maybe isn't as important as this, but is more important than this. So somewhere in there, okay? And that's a big part of you to find. And when you find that right tone for yourself, and you can be a certain way in a bar, or with a bunch of young people, or you're at a 50th anniversary party and there's a bunch of old people around and your tone shifts. When you can do that and find ways to convey that to you, this is something of value, this is something meaningful, this is something worth watching. When you can do that in a wide variety of situations, that's when you'll find, sometimes, in fact, I've found, that's when you really start to discover some of your most exciting and meaningful performances. On the channel here, I often talk about that people will care about the magic because they care about you. But it's also about you caring about the magic. You have to dare to treat the magic you're doing as if it's meaningful. If you don't act like it's meaningful, or yours is so meaning on this, you're not going to care. When you care, when you do something in a way where it's got value, and it's meaningful to you, then you're going to respond to that feeling in some way. It's as simple as that, but it's more of what it really is.